Shalom. All praises go to the Most High. Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai Bahasham Kodash. Double honors unto the elder pauses at great millstone for the teachings of the scriptures, among other things. Shalom to the sincere Akim across the world. Right. So what's going on right now is a gathering of all the collective minds of the Edomites of the world and stuff like that. They're all collectively coming against Amalek because of the things that they're doing over there, which is funny because they've been doing the same thing to the other Jacob, well, to the Jacob descendants, of course, but to the other heathen nations too. For example, South Africa, Australia, and of course, you know, different countries in the continent of Africa. Because y'all still think Africa is a country? Anyway, Europe is not a country neither. You see them make that mistake very often. Only people from America say that. But then again, who knows, right? Who cares, right? Sorry. Wait, I'm looking for some. So here is the book of, wait a minute. Oh man. Right, go to it, man. Acts chapter 14, verse 22. Conforming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith. Right, we're exhorting the disciples. You know, we're being exhorted, we're exhorting others. You have people that might be a little bit weak and stuff like that, so you help them. You know, if you are strong, if you have been given much faith, much knowledge of these scriptures, it is in your best interest to go out there and talk to the Jacob descendants, whether it be people that ask you a question when you're offline. It's kind of crazy to say that. But anyway, when you're offline, and of course when you're online and stuff like that, you know? And that they must through much tribulation enter into the kingdom of the Heavenly Father. So you have to go through some things. So this is nothing. The thing that they're talking about, the World War III and Iran and stuff like that, that has been going on since the 60s. You know, since the Cold War, since the 40s, actually 20s. Because, you know, in the 20s it started to actually bubble up, like 7-Up, toward the 1940s where you had that Cold War era, you know. And then it kind of bubbled down a little bit. Became, all the gas floated out of it, just like 7-Up. If you just leave it there, all the bubbles is just gonna leave. But if you taste it, it still tastes like 7-Up. It don't taste like water. It look like water. It's not water. So that war between them never watered down. And therefore, the taste is still in their mouth. Especially in America. Because you don't see really movies about Russians pushing the American spy type of thing. But man, even in the cartoons, always, not always, but often the villains are Arabian people or Russian people and stuff like that. You see that constantly in the fucking American movies all the time. So they've been pushing this for a very long time. You don't see the Russians really do that. They actually don't really do that. There was a survey by a dumbass that went to America, and then he asked the people. No, he actually lied to them. He said, we need your support and go in war with Russia and stuff like that, nuke them. And the majority of the people that he addressed, they all said that, let's kill him. Let's kill him with nukes and stuff like that. And then it gained much traction. And then a person from Russia, they did the same survey. And the majority of the people over there, they actually said, no, we don't want no war. So that shows you the Americans are the ones that really want that war. That's why we know them as basically the Romans. The ones that went from from Europe to America. And yeah. The Roman Empire all over again versus the Greek Empire all over again, you know, because empires are reincarnated. If you look at the language of the Europeans, you will see that their language is modeled after the Roman Latin language, the alphabet I should say, and the alphabet of the Russians and those areas over there, they're actually modeled after the Russian and Greek Empire. Greek language, the Greek alphabet. Anyway, so that's just something. But anyway, so Zephaniah chapter 1 verse 14, it says, that great day of Yahweh is near. It is, what the hell is going on with this thing, man? Oh, okay, got it. The great day of Yahweh is near. It is near, and hasted greatly. And the voice of the day of the Lord. The voice of the day of the Lord are talking about the prophets that come out and prophesy. You got prophets, you got watchdogs, you got teachers, you got, of course, apostles and stuff like that. Well, let me get that actually. 1 Corinthians, if I'm correct. Where was it again? 1 Corinthians 12. 1 Corinthians 12 and 28. And the Heavenly Father set some in the churches. First apostles. Those are the ones that are sent out to go do the proclaim the kingdom of heaven unto the people. Secondarily, the prophets. They do the same thing too, but they, what do you call it? They prophesy. The apostles prophesy too, by the way, because they speak about the Lord Yahushua. And speaking of the Lord Yahushua is a witness of prophecy itself. Revelation 19 says that, if I'm correct, or Revelation 17, one of those two. The testimony of Yahushua is the testimony of prophecy. It's the witness of prophecy. But anyway, witness, testimony. So it says here, thirdly, so secondarily, prophets. Thirdly, teachers. So you're going to have the teachers also teaching the laws, teaching the mannerisms, teaching also about the prophets, about the apostles, teaching also about Yahushua coming back. So they're doing the same thing too. Yahweh is up. But yeah, certain people, let me go on. After that, miracles, certain brothers have miracles and stuff like that. Not with you're using your hands or something to touch somebody, and then all of a sudden they healed. But you have miracles. For example, if you wake somebody up out of this world, that's a miracle in itself. That's a form of spiritual healing. For example, Isaiah chapter 1, where it speaks about waking up the dead. Well, you are dead, but still. That's actually Ezekiel 37, which is another form of a miracle. Waking somebody up that used to believe in flying freaking reindeers and stuff like that. And waking somebody up that was really stubborn concerning all nations can be saved, right? Instead of just the Jacob descendants, which is the truth, and not the rest, right? That's a miracle in itself. Also miracles of healing and stuff like that. Esau talk about there's no healing of certain type of things, but there are. He's just lying to you. That's another form of miracles. That's not really a miracle. It's a miracle that you believe in it. Because there's a lot of people that are very stubborn. They stick to Esau, his medicines and stuff like that. But anyway, after that, miracles, then gifts of healings. It is, like I said, it is a miracle to come up out this world. Because many are called but few are chosen. That's another thing. So you will have a lot of people that are called, start to believe, and then fall off eventually. And then which is a miracle in itself that they actually woke up. But yeah, I can go on. I'm not talking about like spiritual divine. It is a spiritual divine thing, but I mean like superpowers type of miracles and stuff like that. I don't do that. Then gifts of healing, helps, governments, diversities of tongues. Are all apostles? Are all prophets? Are all teachers? Are all workers of miracles? Right. But it basically, yeah, that's it. So I don't need to go on. Going on further back to where I was. Isaiah, no. John chapter... Where did I put that one? I already read that. Zephaniah 1 and 14. The great day of Yahweh is near. It is near. It hastened greatly. Even the voice of the day of the Lord. The mighty men shall cry there bitterly. Who are these mighty men? The mighty men nowadays are the ones that have these armies. Well, not have these armies. They're a bunch of sissies. But I mean the people that are in the armies that are waging war. That are known for snuffing out a lot of people and, having a great sleep at night. A lot of these people come back from the war and kill themselves. You was never built for it. You was just gassing up. That reminds me of people that look for trouble, and then when their trouble find them, then all of a sudden, they realize that they're actually afraid. But in the beginning, they ain't afraid because a lot of times also they expect you to be afraid. And then when they see like you ain't even, you're not like that. You know what I'm saying? You're like a dog that don't bark. He just bite. Actually, that's the truth. Don't bark. A wolf don't bark. He growls. You might think he playing. Anyway, he's not playing. Daniel 9 and 10, which is, there's more, but I just grabbed this one for remember us. That's one. Second, it's faster. So there is Daniel chapter 10 first. No, 9 verse 10. Neither have we obeyed the voice of Yahweh our power to walk in his laws, which he set before us by his servants and prophets. There's many more. Hebrews chapter 1 verse 1, for example. And there's also another one in Isaiah. Which one was that again, actually? Isaiah 31, if I'm correct. Let me check that. Actually. No. I think it's Jeremiah then. Actually, I don't know. Damn it. It doesn't. Wait, now I really gotta find it because it's kind of irritating. Really messed up. Ezekiel 33. I wrote it down in my Bible. So it's Ezekiel 33 and 33, which is, it's the same thing. So that's definitely, I don't really need to get it. But anyway, Ezekiel chapter 33, verse 33, which says, and when this cometh to pass, lo, oh yeah, Ezekiel chapter 3, no, 2 also. But anyway, and when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come. Then shall they know that a prophet had been amongst them. Oh, that's actually not the one speaking about the voice and stuff like that. But Hebrews chapter 1 and 1 does. Let me get that. Now Hebrews 1. Hebrews 1 and 1. Yahweh, who at sundry times and in diverse manners spake in time past unto the fathers by the prophets. That's basically his mouthpiece. That's his voice. But Daniel's chapter 9 verse 10 is the best. Anyway, so the day of the Lord is near, and the day of the voice of the Lord. The day of the voice of the Lord. We in the day of the voice of the Lord right now, because just like in the book of Acts chapter 13 verse let me get that one real quick. What's it? Acts 13. So Acts chapter 13 verse 20. And after that, the the Most High gave judges unto the Israelites. Well, let me read it again. And after that, he gave unto them judges about the space of 450 years until Samuel the prophet. So let me read it again. Acts 13, and 20. It says, and after that, he gave unto them judges about the space of 450 years until Samuel the prophet. So what does that mean? That means that from the time of Joshua, then comes the book of Ruth, around that time. So Joshua, when Joshua ended, then came the book of Ruth, if I'm correct. Was it? Let me double check that. Because I might be wrong. No, Judges. After Joshua comes Judges, and then comes Ruth. Yeah. So after Joshua comes Judges. So after Joshua, the Most High didn't send prophets for like 450 years until Samuel the prophet. So and by the way, after Ruth comes, so after Judges comes Ruth, and then Samuel. Right. Yeah. So Joshua stopped. That's the last one. Well, not the last one, but I mean like the time that the prophet stopped being brought by Heavenly Father. Not brought. I mean like raised up, and then born and stuff like that. And then came Samuel. Let me read it again. So Acts chapter 13, verse 20. And after that he gave unto them judges about the space of 450 years until Samuel the prophet. And then 1 Samuel chapter 3, verse 1. And the child Samuel ministered unto Yahweh before Eli, and the word of Yahweh was precious in those days. There was no open vision. There were no open visions because the Most High wasn't talking to anybody. So when he when he was talking to Eli, he actually heard him. He heard him talk to him. Samuel heard him talk, and then Eli said, "Hey, well, I didn't call you, but you need to read the story." But the point is that the Most High's words was precious in those days because he didn't turn his back. He was silent because as soon as Joshua died, Judges chapter 1, they started to kind of go off already, and then by the time of Judges chapter 2, they was already in slavery because of their unfaithfulness toward Yahweh B'Ashem Yahushai. And Judges 3 also, they did it again. Yeah, throughout the whole book of Judges, which is 450 years something, they actually went up and down, up and down, up and down, because they started to worship all these idols, and then followed the judges. And as soon as the judge died, they went back to the idols, and then the Most High raised up another judge after they started crying, and then they followed Yahweh for a certain time, and then they fell back as soon as the judge died. Anyway, so we in the time of the Most High's voice, where the Jacob descendants of the heavenly, the Israel of Israel. Not all Israel is of Israel. Not all Jacob is of Jacob. And I'm not talking about those rats that live in that land right now. I'm talking about the real Jacob descendants, which are the so-called black Latinos and Native Americans. But anyway, so it says right here, Jeremiah 50 and 30. Therefore her young men shall fall in the streets, and all her men of war shall be cut off in that day, saith Yahweh. All the mighty men that are upon the planet Earth, they're gonna fall upon the earth. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna fall because they represent the enemies of Yahweh B'Ashem Yahushai. No matter if you're a Jacob descendant in the armies of Esau fighting, and you think you're actually fighting for good, well, then you're gonna die for something that you truly believed in. Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 37. The sword is upon their horses and upon their chariots. Nowadays they don't have horses, they have vehicles. War vehicles, and upon their mingled people, and upon all the mingled people that are in the midst of her. And one of the reasons why Esau loves to gather multiple people from different countries, he put unto him many nations and stuff like that, the melting pot, you could basically say. Why? Because he can tax the other heathen nations that are in the midst of him. And he's the one that's bringing them in the country, bit by bit. It's Esau doing it. And actually, if you watch the You Are Amalek, all videos, all 4 of them, there's 3 parts, but there's another one that says in Times Up You Are Amalek. You're not gonna really, you can find it. You can find it. But it's easier to find You Are Amalek part 1, part 2, and part 3. You can easily find that one, but the other one, you gotta really look for it and stuff like that, because they're making sure that that one doesn't exist anymore. And the guy that actually created the documentary, it's not on his website anymore. And I don't like him, by the way. A lot of these people that make these documentaries, they're gonna get their ass hurt once that time comes. Because in the You Are Amalek, he's trying to still push us as criminals in that same documentary. This is fucking crazy. All the shit that's going on, and he named the documentary You Are Amalek. So he knows that they're Amalek, but he doesn't know who the real Israelites are. So if they're Amalek and not the real Israelites, who are the real Israelites? Well, he thinks them Edomites in Europe, them Edomites in freaking whatever, man, Russia, whatever, the Christians there. Anyway, and I talked to him. I cussed him out, by the way. I'm not talking to people like that because I hate him. Or something, man, I hate. Anyway, so going on. Now it says right here, a sword is upon their horses and upon their chariots, and upon all the mingled people that are in the midst of them, and they shall become as women. A sword is upon their treasures, and they shall be robbed. A sword is upon their treasures, man. And the treasures that are in state right now, they're gonna get flattened with that nuclear bomb. It's talking about this, the riches that they have here in Europe, the riches that they have locked away in Australia, the riches that they have locked away in South Africa, because the Dutch are there, you know, the ones that they came from here, those are there, and yeah, they have these riches that they got stocked up in certain places, you know, Jeremiah 51 and 30, but yeah. The taxation thing, there's a scripture that talks about he heaped unto himself all nations. And Jeremiah 25 talks about all nations, they're all going to get destroyed. Every single individual one of them. Well, not every single individual one of them is mentioned in Jeremiah 50, is it? Yeah, I think it's 50. Yeah, it's 50. Jeremiah 50 and 14. Yeah, 14, 15. Yeah. No. 51 then. Oh, sorry. Jeremiah 25. Right. Jeremiah 25. In Jeremiah 25, 14 on down, then you will see that the Most High is addressing all these heathen nations. But if it's, but I know it's not 100% of them in there, but it's the majority of them. But then you could pull another scripture like Isaiah 80, Psalms 82, for example. But he put unto him all nations is Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 5. Yea, also because he transgressed by wine philosophies. He's a proud man. He think that he's the Most High and no one else. Neither keep it at home. That's why he's always in different countries, either stealing or trying to dictate to them what they need to do and how they need to do it. For example, they want to get on the public. It's Esau. He wants to get on the public talking about pollution and all that type of stuff, while they are literally the only ones and the main ones, the only ones that are actually doing the massive type of pollutions and stuff like that. You know, destroying ecosystems, introducing animals and all that, and insects even. Making GMO insects to combat something that they already created. This fucking cesspool over there. It's like Wise-Eyed Shut. They're all in it. A bunch of orgies and stuff like that. You have this movie, Caligula. I can't watch that movie. I don't think I'm gonna watch that movie ever. Caligula. Have you seen that? I'm not watching that movie, man. I saw clips of it. I was like, nah. 120 Days in Sodom. I'm not watching that one either. And you know what the funny thing is? A lot of times when I watch some movie or something like that, I don't even notice these actors, man. Until I go back in time and I see like, damn, I didn't know you was in that movie. For example, did you? I didn't know. Of course, I looked it up. But I really like the Resident Evil movie. I never knew that that was the girl from the Blue Lagoon. Yo, they'd been touching her, man. But yeah, when I saw her in Resident Evil, that's when I thought I knew her for the first time. I didn't. I saw the movie Blue Lagoon, and I saw her there. And then you had the other one, the second Blue Lagoon movie, which was Brooke Kelly or Kelly Brooke, something like that. They've been touching her too, you know? If you type in her name, Kelly Brooke or Brooke Kelly, something like that, and you type in Playboy, then you will see. You're gonna see. They've been doing that. And she can't talk. You know, she gonna end up swimming with the fishes. She can't talk. And nobody talking about it neither. Except a few people online. And all that there. You know. But anyway, so it says here, Habakkuk 2 and 5. Yea, also, because he transgressed by wine, he's a proud man, neither keep it at home. Neither keep it at home. Who enlarges his desire is hell. His desire is as hell, because hell is always continually eating, always continually hungry. Hell is talking about the grave, and every second of the day somebody dies. So basically, hell is hungry, and that's Esau. He has a never-ending, unsatisfiable appetite for destruction, mayhem. Psalm 73 shows you he's clothed himself in violence. You know, that's his clothing. That's how he walks around upon the planet Earth. He can't help himself. You know, just like, for example, just like how you have people that are born in this day and age. Well, not born in this day and age. They might hit 19, 20 or something like that, and then they actively decide to go shoot heroin. If this was in the 80s, you could understand that these people would not know the end result of what a crack smoker would turn out to be. But nowadays, it's like, what, 20, 40, it's 40 years later or something like that. And you have still guys actually trying out crack. I know this guy. I'm not fucking kidding you. I know a guy, a Jacob descendant, man, but he got Edomite friends, so we know like sniffing dope is actually Edomite drugs. Ecstasy is Edomite drugs and stuff like that. But once you start hanging around and being born, or your parents, they thought it would be safer or funner. I know it's not a word, but anyway, more funner to go and live in the midst of Edomites. I know those type of jakes exist exactly also here. They don't want their kids to be here in schools because they, according to them, it's not good. They don't want them hanging around. So they go to Edomite school. Well, check out how them Jake kids turn out. You know. But then again, hey, what's up, man? I wanted to say whatever, man, and what's up at the same time. Anyway, so who enlarges his desire is hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. They're doing it because they're taxed. Look, they set up a system to where they now make the women work, but it's it looks like it's honorable, right? They actually want to tax the other half of the population. And even if you tell these women right now, they're actually having a great time, not knowing that every single individual cent that you make, it's still going to them. Money is going to them, right? On every cent, they got dips. That's why they tax you before you get your paycheck, or however you get your money. They actually have a cut out of it. And let's say you're a hustler, you're doing your thing on the side and stuff like that. Okay, cool, okay. You know, you're still paying taxes, because when you're going into the stores, everything that you buy, food, anything and everything. So for all these people that say that they're independent, look, you have people that are independent, but you're not independent, because you're dependent on someone else to bring the food to anywhere where you are able to get it. Fruit, typical type of tropical fruit and stuff like that. You can't get it here. Therefore, you need someone that has a plane or has a boat or has a truck that can go, for example, to Spain. It doesn't need to be that tropical, but you have in Spain, you have oranges and wine, and France and stuff. You have those places. They do have it, But you still need someone, sucker. So you're not that independent after all. Eventually, you think you are, but you are to a certain degree, man. If you can live off the grid and just basically be in a certain type of mentality concerning, you don't need to actually do a lot of business with a lot of people. Okay, cool, okay. But just to be in truth, you're not independent. It doesn't really exist. Not really. It doesn't exist. Because you still need to depend on Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Because you have certain people that don't believe in the Heavenly Father, right? Okay. And they also live off the grid, right? Okay, cool, okay. Now you gotta wait for rain. Let's see if you don't believe in the Heavenly Father, then okay. Let's see if you believe in your mother nature and stuff. It is nature, but not as how you present it. Not as how the Edomites presented with their mother nature. They reference the Queen of Heaven, Ashtaroth, or Asherah, which is the grove thing. It's kind of the same thing, only they subjugated her to the forest, like the grove worship, and the Queen of Heaven they subjugate to a lot of other things and stuff like that. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Anyway, you still need it. That's why the Native Americans used to do rain dances. Not just Native Americans, because people in Africa do it until this day. But they don't dance, they pray. They pray to spirits and stuff and it actually does rain. You might think I'm bullshitting, but you can, look, whatever. Let me go. Now it says it right here. It actually does work. But that doesn't mean you need to go worship it or that I believe in worshiping it. I know it works. I see it. I know. I know what they do. You can Google it. Well, you can YouTube it. If you type in African man makes it rain in Africa by prayer, and it starts to rain. Now you can believe it if you want to, and that's just one thing that they documented on YouTube. But there's other instances, other places. But like I said, let's focus on the scriptures. Anyway, let me. It's not open. No, it's not open. The cant is the open kancha. Right. So it says right here, but gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. So what are they doing? Back in the days, they had this thing of the majority bulk, the bigger bulk of the citizens or inhabitants of the land, I should say, they wasn't working, which are the women and children. So they couldn't get income from the women and they couldn't get income from the children, only the men. And they still was well off. They still was rich, even doing that. So they came up with the idea, as greedy people always do, trying to get to squeeze out more money as possible. So they made up an elaborate scheme, which is they conspired together and plotted out a devastating, use that fancy word, devastating. Anyway, a devastating after effect is what it had. Of basically, the reason why it's so devastating is because you don't realize that you're being scammed. It's beyond crazy. It's so magnificent. It's so cunning that you think you're free, but actually he's locking your ass up more. Because now he will have more money in order to do greater things, in order to pay off people, in order to do certain things, in order to sponsor, in order to and then from sponsorship comes cancellation type tip, because now people are afraid to lose their sponsorships or they lose their money. So he has power over you. This is the same thing that they do in South America. That's why I'm not gonna speak facts here, which is the truth. You can look this up. It's the truth. For example, Venezuela. What did they do? The lighter ones in Venezuela, the conquistador babies. They used to oppress, especially the darker ones, but the brown other Venezuelans also, the natives and stuff like that, they used to oppress them. And then when healthcare and school started to become available for them, then they moved to America because they was like, fuck this shit, man. I don't have power over them no more. I can't, make them clean my garden and keep it squeaky clean and pay them nickels compared to the job that they are now able to get with education and so-called education and stuff like that. But they set up the system to where you kind of need these papers. But that's the whole other story, because you don't need that shit. You know, you can just work, and people know you by skill. Well, you can't really advertise yourself because, you know, concerning the diplomas and stuff like that. But through skill, you can make more money than people that got diplomas. All you need is skills, and people that know your skills. But anyway, but yeah, yeah. But anyway, so they cost them to be able to now take care of themselves without needing to clean up for nickels and dimes and all that there. So they hated it, and they fled out the country. They went to America. This is in the 70s, 60s, something like that. You can Google this story. Anyway, you can YouTube it too. There's people from Venezuela talking about it. They're talking about it. They're talking about how racist their upper echelon or something like that. Upper echelon, some shit like that. I don't know that. I heard that word before. Upper echelon, something like that. I found it a funny word, so I was like, let me try and maneuver it into into my speaking. Anyway, but basically that is what Esau is doing. Esau, he now has power to control with that money. He can make you tap dance. He can make you tap dance, you know? And yeah, that's basically what it is. And that's what they're doing. So now, with all the heaping of all the heathen nations coming here or anywhere else, every country in existence that has it, now they can tax the other half of the, well, let me begin back with the women and stuff like that. Now they can tax the other half of the population, which is the majority of it, because there's more women than men. And then the children too. Now they can tax the children also. You might think like, wait a minute, they have even their own laws is against children working. Yeah, but the children need to go to school, and therefore the parents need to pay, so they can still indirectly charge them kids. Well, you know, they can still charge them without charging them. They charge you. That's why when they have commercials, they target the commercials on the parents, because the kids looking at the commercials, first thing what they want to do is they want to buy those toys. Who are they going to go to? They're going to go to the parents, so therefore they still get them through the kids. They use the kids. Well, that's the same thing that they did concerning, that's the same thing that they do concerning the so-called migrants coming in legally. There is a place in, I think, Texas, which now is 33% East Indians. 33% East Indians now in Texas. Let me see if I can get it. I'll put the link in the description box. You can check it out for yourself. It's let me see here. Right, so it says right here, the 33% figure regarding East Indians and East Asia from Asian Indians in Texas is associated with the explosive population growth, in the city of Frisco as of early 2026, rather than the state of Texas as a whole. So in Frisco, let me read this one too. Frisco, Texas, the Asian, it's East Asian, East Indians, but it says here Asian. But anyway, they're South Asian. But anyway, Asian means East, but it's not a race. It's a direction. It's like Westerns, you know. When you say West Indies, it's a direction, and then Indies is called. That area, well, it actually goes back to a word which means savage and stuff like that, but yeah, something like that. But let me go on. It says here the Asian population in Frisco has grown from just over 2% in 2000 to approximately 33% by February 2006. So they went from 2% in 2000 to 33% in 2026. Who did that? Did they just massively bombard the what is it? It's not even a wall. What the clouds? Did they did they teleport themselves into the clouds and then bypass the unwalled villages in America? No, they didn't. It's the government brought them in there with these type of HB1 visa type of nonsense type of thing that they can stay there and then they could work and all that. They taxing the shit out of them. That's what they're doing because they're gonna buy stuff in the store and they're taxing you like triple, double, quadruple, triple, whatever. Why? Because normally back in the days they used to tax you one time a week or one time a month. They used to tax you, and the food that you buy, fish, and the vegetables and the fruit that you bought just at the markets and stuff like that, you wasn't getting taxed on that one. You was only getting taxed on the housing and stuff like that. But Esau, being a cunning little piece of shit that he is, he started to figure out like, no, I'm gonna tax you on every type of food item and just every item. You buy a pencil, I want some money out of that one. You buy a pencil sharpener, I want some money out of that one. So he started to put taxes upon every single individual item in his land. Everything, sorry. And that's what he's doing. So he's taxing you not only in your job, on your job, or just anything that you do. You buy a jacket, he taxed that. You buy fabric in order to make them clothing, he tax you on that too. So these guys have trillions upon trillions, and you know what they do with those trillions? They pay off people. They fund their little Jeffrey Epstein trips and stuff like that off of that tax money. It's beautiful. They grow wealth because with money you can make money. So if you're rich, you're not wealthy. Rich people get turn broke, can become broke. Wealthy people, let me see you try that. And plus, wealthy people is not just one person. Rich is one person, and then he has his family and his wife could take the half. You don't hear them come into court talking about I want half of my Rothschild husband money. That's not happening. That's not happening. And plus, they keep it in the family, by the way. So anyway, if that was to happen, it's still the same family. Like they have cousins, relations and stuff like that, which is actually scriptural, by the way. But they're filthy because they do it with their children too, like incest. That's what I mean with children. Oh, loose from the Jeffrey Epstein stories. Loose from that, they do that filthy stuff too. Leviticus 18 shows you what they're doing. And yeah, they do the cousin thing, which is biblical. So it's actually the law of the Israelites. Tobit chapter 6 shows you that. Anyway, so right, but my point is, he brought them in, and therefore he can tax them now. Yeah, that's what they do, because he's cunning like that. And if anyone thinks in America, especially, if you think that you're just that the government, right, is going to just kick out all the migrated people, right? You're out your fucking mind. That's like to them, that's like stopping every female or basically every woman in America, stopping the tax income what they get from them. The government is not going to do that. They're not that stupid. And second, the people are not going to accept it, even though it's actually beneficial for them. But that's not how it works. You know what I'm saying? They don't think like that. They got different type of mindset and stuff like that. But anyway, let me go on. So it says here, Jeremiah 51 verse 30. The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holds. Their might has failed. They became as women. That's gonna happen. They're already kind of chicken shit right now concerning Iran, because I've seen a few videos, and they don't want to. And you have not a lot, but they have a few soldiers that are against the Amalekites in that country over there, and they're getting fired, losing their jobs and stuff like that, because they're online complaining. You can Google this article. There's a soldier that has like 3 million followers or something like that on TikTok, has been suspended because he was anti-Israel, something like that. He didn't want to go there and fight, and he started bringing up arguments because he's in the military, active. Well, I don't know. He's not active now, I'll tell you that. Let me Google that. Yeah. Well, what? Oh, that's crazy. It was actually 22. I put the a link in the article. It was a article from 2020. Damn. I read it a few days ago because I saw it in my feed thing, not on YouTube. I just look at websites and stuff like that, so I check out news. So I saw it in my feed. I didn't look at the date. I do now. Anyway, it says here, U.S. Army suspends officer with 3 million TikTok followers for Holocaust joke. It was a joke here. Damn, what was the other one? And now I think I got something confused. Wait, soldier for being against Iran war. I think I have stories. I think I have stories messed up. Anyway, I'll put all these links in the description box so you can check it out for yourself. German soldiers suspended after allegedly passing plans of defense purchased to lobbyists. You know what? I'll put the link in the description box because I think I slipped up a few different articles within one. Anyway, I'll show that later. In the description box, I'll put them. Anyway, let me go back to where I was. Yeah, I messed up. But I know I read something yesterday. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'll probably show a few videos too, because I've seen a lot of videos, by the way, where you have these soldiers fighting up against the government, talking about they ain't gonna fight. You got the other one, for example. He broke his arm because he was fighting for not going to war and stuff like that. He wants them to spend the money on America itself instead of sending the money to Israel. So you got that one too, but I'm not talking about that. I wasn't referring to that one in the beginning. Let me go on. Now it says right here that the mighty men of Jeremiah 51 and 30, the mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holes because they don't want to go out, you know. Because by the way, this already happened back in the days with ancient Babylon, right? But nowadays it's happening with modern Babylon. Let me go on. They remained in their holes. Their might had failed. They became as women. They have buried her dwelling places. Her bars are broken. Yeah, everybody's gonna enter nowadays, you know, and a lot of people have something to say against America because of the things that are happening right there in the Middle East. But you have to remind yourself that you have to remind yourself that this is the beginning of the end. And you have to remind yourself that they're not fighting for the native in America being occupied for like 534 years since 1492. The other one, South Africa, has been occupied since 1652. Australia has been occupied since 1788. They're not fighting for that one, which they shouldn't. But I'm just putting it out there to let you know what type of mindset you should have when you see them fighting for Ishmael. You should be like, okay, the world fighteth for his own. John 17 or 15, one of those two. Anyway, Jeremiah 51 and 37, and Babylon shall become heaps. They love to heap nations upon themselves, trying to get more money and stuff like that. But it's also, like I said, if you watch the the documentary, You Are Amalek, then you will see, then you will see that it's Amalek doing it, because Amalek wants to start that war with Esau, because Amalek, according to Amalek, they say that Europe is Amalek. They say that America is Rome. That's what they say. That's what I'm not kidding. They you know, and they say, and they do call the Arabs Ishmael. They say we're gonna use Ishmael, that sword, to fight against America, England, and Europe. We're gonna use it. And if you don't know, there's crazy protests and kind of riotish type of things here in the Netherlands concerning the asylums that the Netherlands are opening up toward these people from Syria coming in. You have to remember, the next generation that is going to be born here Oh boy. You're going to have Aram, which is Syria. You're going to have them. You might have Lebanese too, which are another form of Ishmaelites and stuff like that. They might even be one of the, well, not Ishmael specifically, but one of the other sons of Abraham. You know? Because they all look alike, man. Look at them, maybe they look like Arabs, but if you look at them, they don't look like Arabs, but they look like Arabs. I don't know how I said that. You know? I can look at them sometimes and be like, hey, this guy look like an Arab, but he's not. You see it in their face, they're different, you know? They have different bone structures and stuff like that. Anyway, and like Turkish people also, they also have a look in their face. You look at them, sometimes they look like which they are, by the way. And the Arabians, they also sometimes look like Amalekites. They look alike, man. To me. But I still know, to a certain degree, like when I look at them, if I look at them, I'd be like, I can kind of guess what you are. But anyway, Jeremiah 51 and 37, and Babylon shall become heaps, a dwelling place for dragons, an astonishment and an hissing, without an inhabitant. Most High is going to make it to where this place is going to get, well, that place is going to get exterminated. There shall be no stone left to put upon one another. It's going to be flattened. And that whole land will be a beautiful land after their deaths. And it's going to be as lush as it used to be in the time of the Native Americans, when you had all these greeneries and stuff like that. Lush vegetations and all type of animals. But in this case, dragons are going to go live there, which are reptiles. Dragon is a reptile. They changed that name into in the, I think in the 60s or 50s. They changed the name dragons into dinosaurs. You can Google that. It's going to tell you. Nahum 3 and 13. Behold, thy people in the midst of thee are women. The gates of thy land shall be set wide open unto thine enemies. The fire shall devour thy bars. Back in the days, ancient Babylon had bars, and the Most High broke them. And nowadays, modern day Babylon doesn't have bars. They're the unwalled villages that live at peace, I should say. I wanted to say something else, but they're basically living in peace. And the Most High is going to disturb the peace. You know that song from Ludacris? Actually, the whole group is called DTP. So it says, behold, Nahum 3 and 13, behold, thy people in the midst of thee are women. Those mighty men, they're going to become women in the time of war, because a lot of men are going to be screaming. Right? So it says here, thy people in the midst of thee are women. The gates of thy land shall be set wide open unto thine enemies. He's the one that's opening the gate in the first place. How come there's legal migration from India into Texas, Frisco? Frisco is actually a Jake town. Did you know that? Frisco. Woo! Car crash. Oh, that's okay. You fucked up. You fucked up, didn't you? You fucked up now. Right. That's what happens when you drive like a piece of shit. Okay. Anyway, so Frisco, I'll put the link in the description box to teach you. Not teach you. Teach you. I didn't make that thing. It was somebody else that did it. So, so that you can see that Frisco used to be for Jake's. Jake's was in Frisco and San Francisco. Frisco. And Africa Town also, which they renamed. And Frisco and San Francisco. And Africa Town, they call it Happy Hills now, after they bulldozered it and put government housing, because them Jakes had housings there for their own houses. But Esau came with a particular scam, and he said, yeah, we're coming here for the safety of this place, and we have done research that this place is not safe. The houses are going to crash upon your head, and therefore we're going to, for your own safety, we're going to bulldoze this down, and then we're going to put in projects and government housings That's what I wanted to say actually. Which are the projects? Government housings, and then you're gonna pay rent. But yeah, Africa Town. That's what they did. And then they went from ownership to renters in a few in a year or two, you know. And after that, they slapped the place. They called the place Happy Hills. Fucking paranoid. That goes hand in hand with what they're doing now. You're gonna be happy. But basically, you will own nothing and be happy. You know, so they did that. This guy's funny. Well, how come you don't get the fuck out the way? He's gonna start a whole fucking how you call that thing, traffic here, instead of just getting the fuck out the way. This is what you call this is how traffic jams start. This dumb shit. One idiot. You can just get out the fucking way. If you ever been in a traffic jam, it's irritating as shit, and it's because of people like this. Because they just want to stay in one spot. Oh man, you hit me. I ain't moving. I ain't budging. Until the police come. You could both move. And let the other people just go on by. Because it's gonna be. But anyway, it's their problem. So, but it's irritating because I've been through this shit. So now you can see how it happens. But anyway, let me go on, man. So, what's the point of all this? The point is that Esau is going to be chicken shit once that time comes, when that war really comes. Because in the beginning I just remembered it. In the beginning I said you have a lot of guys that are fucking tough guys, and then they want to start something, right? But then they see like, hey, he ain't afraid, and then you start doing stuff to them, you know? You start throwing bows on the hole. But anyway, then they go call the cops. Then they go realize like, hey man, this guy's crazy. And then they go run around and all that type of stuff and sue you. All this type of crazy shit, man. You know? And then you need to know, just like how this movie, I think it's something with Black Mon or something, but it was the Irish mob guy, Whitey is his name. He calls himself Whitey, or he was called Whitey. Whitey Bulger. They called him that. Johnny Depp played him. I forgot the movie name. Black something. Whatever. That thing. But in the movie, he actually told his son. but this is Biggie said that too. I ain't listening to Biggie, but I heard it. I heard the song. He said like bad boys move in silence and violence and stuff like that. But that's another thing. And I heard a few other people said it. But anyway, the thing is, in the movie, in the Irish movie, he said because he got flack on school for fighting, then his father taught him. You don't fight in front of people. You do it when nobody's looking. Then it's your word against his. If he's still alive. But that's on a murder tip. But I'm not saying that. I am saying like people that talk shit, man. I'm trying to catch you alone. It's fucked up, but hey, you shouldn't talk shit. But you shouldn't teach kids that. They might kill. It's not a good idea. But anyway. So now going to Jeremiah chapter 30, because the war is busy right now, is browsing up, and Esau is the one that is actually set. Well, in the physical form, he's the ones that's starting it, but in the spiritual form, it's the Most High, and the Most High is already telling you right now that they're gonna lose. You have 2nd Ezra chapter 15 or 16, one of those two, which explains to you like they're gonna lose. They're gonna be afraid, and the Ishmaelites and the Elam. They're going to have the upper hand. Elam is already being set up there in America, like 33%. But those are actually not the warrior Elam. You know who the fucking warrior Elam are? The ones from Pakistan, and the other ones from the Elam from India. They're a nuisance. In large groups, they're a nuisance, and they love to band together when they fight. Arabs do the same thing too, but the ones that are really but they fight. It's Pakistan and Iran, and Afghanistan. You know, I'd somewhat think that they're Elam too, another tribe of Elam and stuff like that, because they're doing mad crazy shit, boy. You know, there's a soldier on Flat TV that talks about the things that they're doing. He's not only on Flat TV, but I don't remember these names, boy. But I know he's on Flat TV. That's the easy one to remember because I know that beast for years. I'm not watching his shit. I see a few things. I click on it. I'm not watching focusing. I don't do that shit because I don't like the guy. But you know, it's whatever, man. Jeremiah 25:14 says they will make money off of us, but the Lord's gonna pay them back. So I can watch. I can tell myself I can watch and stuff like that because He's gonna pay it back anyway. Every cent that he make on the Jacob descendant, He's gonna pay it back 1,000 times. You know, because he's an Amalekite, so he's about to get not here no more. That's what he's about to get. But anyway, Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 6. Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. So ask yourself, ask the world, hey man, is there ever a man that actually had labor pains? Is there? There isn't. Wherefore do I see every man with his hand on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned unto paleness. Why? Because they're going to be afraid that war is going to come. All the mighty men are going to be down on the ground talking about they got stomach pains and cramps. That's how they're going to act. You know, that's the type of pain that they're going to be in because it's wartime. You know. But anyway, so it says we're here. Let me read this one here. Let me see, 7. So Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. These are only for the elect. Now, you will have this thing coming back again. For example, this already happened, actually, right? But it's going to happen again, and this time is going to be the one of Matthew 24. That already happened also. But this time, because it looks like a contradiction when it says like it never happened before, but it already happened because we read about it. But it's like this. It's going to be greater than it was back then. It was at that time when it was being pronounced, nothing like that ever happened, right? But it's just another scripture that says nothing like this have happened before, and after, and nothing like this after will also happen. Let me get it, man. It's Matthew 24:21. It says here, for then shall be great Matthew 24:21. From then shall be great tribulations, such as was not since the beginning of this time. No, nor ever shall be. So let me read it again. So this already happened, but let me read it again. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time. No, nor ever shall be. Right? So when you read that, it looked like it's a contradiction, but it isn't, because it's kind of double fold to a certain degree. Because if you read it like this, it says that basically after this tribulation that our people went to, 70 AD, with Titus and Vespasian and his son Titus, after that one, because that's when it actually came. It was 70 AD, which is, I think, 40 years after Yahushua left. Something like that. 40 years after Yahushua left. Then Yahushua said in the same chapter, he said, pray that your flight be not in the winter time, because you know it's gonna be hurting, because it's fucked up traveling in winter time on slippers and sandals and stuff. Oh shit, that's gonna hurt, you know. But anyway, it looks like it's a contradiction, but it isn't, because this is also for this day and age, this time. But now you have to understand, like, nah, man, it's actually really about that now, because now they got weapons like. And you turn into dust, man. You know? They got burning type of weapons, boy. Make you look like you've been boiled. You know, they got radiation type of weapons, man. You got a weapon in your pocket right now. It's called your phone. Full of radiation. That's one. But you got worse ones than that. But anyway, let me go back to where I was, which is Jeremiah 30. And Jeremiah 30 and... take off the 7 or something. Let me see here. Scrappy Doo. So it says, wait. So Jeremiah 30. I think I'll read, okay. Jeremiah 30 and 8. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahweh, the Lord of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off his neck, and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. That's why I'm not worried about guys like Flat TV. It's still irritating, because I think in the future, I'm thinking to myself, but it's not going to happen. But I do know that it did happen already. For example, he has the whole catalog of the Jacob descendants. He's going to be able to milk you. But look, this society is not going to go on for hundreds and hundreds of years. But just like how they did for Motown and stuff like that, they're still milking you until this day. Like music that was made in the 40s, 50s, 60s. They're still milking those Jacob descendants their money, their talent, until this day. They're still milking you, you know? And that's what I see with Flat. He has all these interviews. He's going to continually, people are going to reference him going back 10 years. Let's say, I'm not saying it, but let's say 20 years in the future. I'm not saying it. I'm giving you an example. Just an example. That's why I was angry. But to these scriptures, it comforts me like, oh, I don't have to worry about this piece of shit making money off of it. I can't stand that shit. I can't stand that shit. I can't. Just like the scripture saith in the book of Deuteronomy 23, basically give no prosperity to, desire no prosperity to Moab and Ammon. I'm not giving you that shit, boy. You know, I could be normal against them, but I'm not trying to help you. Not like that. Because I know this guy would be like, no, I ain't doing it. Because I know the scriptures. Well, I know of the scriptures, I should say, so I ain't helping you. Yeah, I got venom. Symbiote now, but Lord willing it will become venom once that time comes. But for now, it's symbiote. Anyway, so it says right here. What was that? So Jacob's trouble, but the strangers shall serve themselves no more of Jacob. But yeah, back to the flat. The flat thing, he would be able to continually milk, you know, and that's gonna stop. And I thank the Lord for that one. And they're doing it all over the place. Here in Europe, a lot of inventions that the Jacob descendants created, set up, stolen on. And it's not really going to make the news, because here is not a real camera country, a real documentary country and stuff like that. You have great documentaries and people that actually do great stuff coming from here, but not compared to America, because they're driven. You know, they got a spirit on them trying to be recognized. Everybody trying to make a name for it. So that's why in America they say stuff like, you ain't you a nobody. What the fuck does that mean? Because in they call that the world, by the way, in their little world, and, you got to be somebody. They mean you need to be known. Your name needs to be known. You need to be talked about. You know, every press is good. There's no such thing as bad press or something like that. All press is good because you get views. People want that. The more crazier you are, or the more crazy your story sounds or is, the more people will click on that story. And before you know it, millions of people know your name. Millions. That's just crazy as shit. No, man, it's too much people for me. Right now, I don't want that. I'm dead serious. I don't want that shit. So it says right here, verse 7. Alas, that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. So here it says it again, that is none like it. But in Matthews, it says it again. But it's not a contradiction. To the Spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahshat, you would understand and you would know that the scriptures is not contradicting one another. You know? Because that Jacob's trouble, it actually did happen. It happened already. It's going to happen again in this day and age, because history repeats itself. That's the point. It gets resetted to a certain degree. It gets resetted, and then it repeats itself once more. And that's why Esau is talking about the great reset, because he knows that actually history resets itself. especially through forgetfulness. I remember there was a time in history where the government was against sodomites and the people were for sodomites. Yeah, yeah. People were protesting, they're human beings, they're human beings, stuff like that, right? And then the government was like, fuck that shit, stomping them out. And then they switched. The switch came. It's like they resetted it, the switch came. And now the government is the one pushing that shit. And the people are talking about no more rights for for them, you know, for a vagabond. They actually do that because they're starting to get irritated by the mannerisms that these crazy people are actually getting more rights than them. So now the people are protesting, talking about, no man, we don't want this shit no more. You see the switch? You see how the switch works? That's how they did it. Like I said, if you go look up in the 70s, 60s, and 50s, since the government was mad, cracking down, straight, throw them bullets on them hoes and stuff like that, on people that were pushing that agenda type of thing and stuff like that. Meanwhile, there was some, that's where the word closet sodomite came from, because they was in the closet. If you watch the Nixon files, the Nixon so-called lost tapes, I didn't lose it because I have it, the Nixon tapes, you need to type, let me write it down for you, so I'm going to get it. The Nixon tapes when he talks about sodomites, and he was talking about San Francisco too. He said it's the most goddamn vagabond thing I've ever seen in my life. I wouldn't shake anyone's hand from San Francisco, what Nixon said, after he attended Bohemian Grove. But wait, let me write it down. He said, Nixon says, you know, we're like the Romans. The Romans were known for being notorious homosexuals. And you know, we're kind of like the Romans, you know, huh? He said that, man. It's on tape, I got it. But I'll put a link in the description box so you can check it out for yourself. He was talking about it. So they know that they're the Romans, to a certain degree. But he was also talking about, you know, let them do their thing, legalize it. He was talking about those type of things, man. I got the tapes. I listened to it yesterday, if I'm correct. Or maybe the day before. But I listened. It's fresh in my mind. I have it. That's why I can kind of quote it. I might quote it wrong, because I'm not that good. But I know I saw it. I know I heard it, I saw it. And I'll put the link in the description box so you can check it out for yourself. These are little small snippets, like 2 minutes and stuff like that. You have a longer one. I'm not going to sit to that one. I just take out the meat that I can use against them as a sword. So my sword has now blood. And you know, you're looking for more blood, basically, to a certain degree. They're wounded, so I'm chasing them. I got them against the ropes. Boop, 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 boop. Got them against the ropes now. Don't lose stamina now. Keep on chasing them. I got more ammo to use against them, which is fun. I like that. I wanna persecute them. Keep on persistently persecuting. But yeah, enough that. But I'll just release that, show that, to show you that they show you that they're the Romans. So they're a bunch of closeted sodomites in itself. But Nixon was just like, oh no, this is too much. I'm used to that normal one. This is crazy. And he talked about it. And the funny thing is, they taped it. I don't know. Hey, what am I looking? Okay, let me go on, man. So it says right here, Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 8. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off his neck and will burst thy bonds. And strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. So that day is going to come. So the Most High already broke us out of that. So we were in Jacob's trouble in that time. And then the Most High bursted us away. But he's going to do it again. You know how many times the Heavenly Father burst us out of trouble? He burst us out of trouble a lot of times. Assyrian Empire, Babylonian Empire, he burst us off. And then he set us up again. Then we went into captivity again under the Greeks and the Romans. Greek was in the Maccabees and Romans was in the New Testament. Right. Ptolemy and stuff like that. And is it Ptolemy is the one that went to Mizraim and establish himself as the Pharaoh. Anyway, going on. So it says, 9. But they shall serve Yahweh their power, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. That's that. So again, it's future tense and past tense at the same time. So that's why it looks like it's contradicting itself, but it's not. Same thing with Matthew. It looks like it's contradicting itself, but it's not, because the Most High is going to set up King David in the midst of the Jacob descendants in the future. So this is future. How you call that thing? Future and past tense. Future past tense. Is that even good? Is it happened already? But it's talking about the future. Some crazy stuff. Anyway, verse 10. So obviously by this time King David was already passed away. So the Most High is going to bring him back. So therefore I know that it's talking about the future, right? But King David also being reincarnated. So that's another story. But I'm not gonna talk about that because I don't know. I don't know, and it's not like I got a secret fucking. Well, actually, no, we did it. No, I don't. Verse 9. But they shall serve Yahweh their power, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. Therefore, fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith Yahweh. Neither be dismayed, O Israel, which is the northern tribes, which means 12 tribes together. For lo, I will save her from afar, and thy seed from a land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return, and he shall be in rest, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. This is the future. Again. So it might look like I'm contradicting myself, or the Bible is contradicting. The Bible is not contradicting itself. So it might look like I'm doing it, but you have many instances where the Most High actually freed us out of that captivity. Then we were in the land for a few seasons, and then we had a little bit of rest. But then tribulation came. But in this case, Yahweh Shai, in this day and age, to 2026 on forward, once we get back up in that land, we're not gonna, we're gonna be at rest once more. But this one is gonna be perpetually, eternally. We're gonna be at eternal rest and peace, because we're not gonna go off anymore. We're not gonna go off anymore. So. Verse 11, for I am with thee, saith Yahweh, to save thee, though I make a full end of all nations, whither I have scattered thee. All the nations that we were in the midst, the Most High is going to stop you from being prosperous, which they are right now. Yet I will not make a full end of thee, but I will correct thee in measure. It's just like how you had for example, how the Most High punished us is like this. Exodus 23. The thing that I'm going to say right now is also to be found in 2 Maccabees chapter 6. The Most High did it in measures. He punishes the heathens, he saves them up, and then crashes on them. But the Jacob descendants, they go like this. They be punished, they come up, they punish, and they fall. And then they rise up again, and then they do wickedness, and then they fall. Be low for a while, and then they come up, be punished. But the heathen nations are not so. The Assyrian Empire never stood up again. The Chaldean Empire never stood up again. Mizraim never stood up again. Why? Because Moses got rid of them. So it says here, Exodus chapter 23, verse 23. Exodus 23, verse 23. For mine angel shall go forth before thee, and to bring thee unto the Amorites, and the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Canaanites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, and I will cut them off. Oh yeah, Canaan also never rose up again. Cush never rose up again after he fell. The Chaldeans, I think I already said that, never rose up again after they fell. They fell so hard, people don't even know who they are anymore. They're Shemites. They're from Arphaxad, because Arphaxad was in that whole region over there. Abraham was there, and back in the days, people stayed. Majority of them, they stayed within their own places and stuff like that. That's even in the time of Yahweh Shai. That's why they were so shocked when they heard everyone speak another language. Like, hey, how it's possible? How can they speak? You're not from around here, But anyway, so it says. Wait, let me go to the point. Verse 28. Exodus 23:28. It says, I will send hornets before thee, which shall drive out the Hivites, the Canaanites, the Hittites from before thee. Here it comes. I will not drive them out from before thee in 1 year. I will not drive them out from before thee in 1 year. Read it again. I will not drive them out from before thee in 1 year, lest the land become desolate and the beasts of the field multiply against thee. But little by little I will drive them out from before thee, until thou be increased and inherit the land. So the reason I use that as an example is to show you that the Most High did it with the heathen nations to basically kill them off slowly, so that we can start multiplying, so that the animals are now going to be afraid of us, because when you have a lot of ruckus and there's a dense population of people, the animals are not going to come. But if there's a small population of people, the animals are going to roll around, see you, fight you, territorial. They're going to fight you. There was a lot of lions in those days and stuff like that. There was other animals too, but I'm not going to talk about it. Job talked about it. But I'm not going to talk about that. You might have them in smaller. When Esau from Netherlands, France, and if I'm correct, Spain too, when they went into Africa, they saw creatures that they didn't want to talk about it afterward. But they talked about it. But then came the wicked, which are the ones that, for example, the Smithsonian Museum and stuff like that. Yeah, those are the ones that came in and started taking stuff, and now all of a sudden they have no bones anymore. All the giant bones of man, of the giants, their bones, they snatched them up, and they got them in the Smithsonians and stuff like that. And all of a sudden they don't have it no more. Those are the people that just make stuff disappear, like Men in Black, the movie is based on truth. Anyway, the Most High basically, He judges us by measures in little bites. Well, the big bite was He left us over for Esau. That was the big bite. But there's gonna come bigger bite that's gonna separate the chosen ones from the non-chosen ones, which is that final resolution, which will be the World War III. But before that, is going to be a chosen fest, a festival of the chosen, which will be a small group that will be chosen, and the rest not. Let me go on. Now it says here, Jeremiah 30 and Jeremiah 30 and I think I already read 10 before. Read it again. Jeremiah 30 and 10. Therefore, fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith Yahweh, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. Sorry. And Jacob shall return, and shall be in rest, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. And this is talking about that we're going to go back to the land of Israel. You know, we've been back to it a few times. For example, in the time from Babylon, and then we went back over there, stayed there, and then we got kicked out really for good. And since then, we have never been back in that land again. So that's the prophecy that still needs to come to pass. We're going to go back to that land, as we haven't seen it in the spirit, rightfully, I should say, because if you bring yourself toward that land, you didn't see that land. You saw a broken, filthy, ruined, something that you shouldn't be touched type of thing. That's what you saw. You shouldn't go there by yourself now. It's just stupid. You're looking at that. I don't know. It's filthy. That's not real. It's like being invited to a party, or basically going there and sneaking in. If they catch you, they're gonna kick you out. But why are you doing that in the first place anyway? And they don't want you there in the first place, or else you would have been invited. That's why we wait upon the invitation of Yahweh Bashem Yahshai and hope you get a card. Hope you get an invitation so you can go and you don't have to sneak around like you're a thief. You know, when you win that facility, you need to be invited and stuff like that. You know, you shouldn't go sneak around in that place. Anyway, so that's what I believe in. Verse 11, Jeremiah 30, verse 11. For I am with thee, saith Yahweh, to save thee, though I make a what? I already read this. But though I make a full end of all nations whither I have scattered thee, yet I will not make a full end of thee, but I will correct thee in measure, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. So, the Jacob descendants are not going to be unpunished. That's why, with much tribulation and that other thing, I forgot what it says. With much tribulation, let me say it again. Where was that? Acts chapter 14, verse 22. Confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, and that we must through much tribulation enter into the kingdom of the Heavenly Father. So we got to go through some things, which is ordered of us in order to go through it. You had this movie back in the days. They continually keep on bringing back that movie. I think it's some kind of ritualistic type of thing. They want to make you have thoughts and dreams and fascinations and fantasy of riches. You know, inherit stuff. But there's a story that they often bring back, which is you need to sleep in a house of a passed away relative that was rich, but the house is haunted. There's a ghost in the house, but you need to sleep in that house for what, a day or something like that. And if you don't run out the house, then you know you get to own the house. But while they're in the house, somebody get killed. There's some kind of crazy stuff going on, you know, devil shit. But you gotta go through some tribulations in order for you to get that inheritance, and that's basically what we need to go through. You need to go through the world, is the tribulations of this world, and then you see if you are found worthy enough to be able to get the deed to the land of Israel, to the house of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And we shall not go unpunished. So we're going to be punished. We're not going to be unpunished for the deeds that we did. Therefore, you should try and live your best in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai while being here upon the planet Earth. Because 2 Corinthians 5, if I'm correct, or 10, one of those two, it says that every man shall get according to what he has done in his flesh. Let me get that. Yeah, 2 Corinthians 5 and 10. Now it says, for we must all appear before the judgment seat of Yahweh Mashiach, the Messiah, that everyone may receive the things done in his body, according to that he had done, whether it be good or bad. So you're going to pay for the things that you've done in your flesh, in your body. Did you resist? Or did you willingly participate? Certain people can't help themselves. Like I said, you've seen the after effect of meth, of crack, of cocaine, what it does to people eventually. Totally out of spiral you out of anything, rationality. And yet you have people in their 20s that are still going out, still going now, talking about they're gonna smoke crack. They're not telling you. They're just gonna taste it, and then before you know it, you see him gargling in the garbage cans and stuff like that. You'd be like, hey man, I know this guy. I actually know another dude. I saw him in the garbage can the other day, and I did not expect that one. Did not expect that one. But yeah, that's what happened, you know. Shit happens. Fucked up shit happens. Okay, Jeremiah chapter. Where am I? Jeremiah chapter 30. I'll jump to. No, I'll just read it on. Until 17. Now it says here, verse 12. But thus saith Yahweh, thy bruise is incurable, and thy wound is grievous. There is none to plead thy cause, that thou mayest be bound up. You know, the only way that you can be bound up for all the sores and wounds that you have is Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai, in the acknowledgement of the things that we did according to what we have done, according to the past, according to the scriptures, according to the deeds that you have done and the actions you have done in this world that are against Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai. There is none to plead thy cause, that thou mayest be bound up. Thou hast no healing medicines, and the scriptures is healing. Isaiah chapter 1 shows you that. 14, all thy lovers have forgotten thee. All the people that you love, yeah. All the heathen nations that our people love, yeah. You got to understand, our women and our men, they spent more than $1,000 on a ticket to fly to an Asiatic country, go try and live or find a wife. That's determination. That's determination. If you had that same determination towards seeking Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai, you might be of the elect. They seek, all thy lovers have forgotten thee. They seek thee not. They're not making that effort toward you. For I have wounded thee with the wound of an enemy, with the chastisement of a cruel one. He used these cruel people against us. In those cases, it was the Chaldeans. Back in the days, it was the Chaldeans that were the cruel ones. But nowadays, Esau, he took over the Chaldeans, and he's crueler than the Chaldeans. For the multitude of thine iniquity, because thy sins were increased. Why criest thou for thine affliction? And why you bitching? You know, you get what you deserve, basically. You get what you was looking for. Read it again. Why criest thou for thine affliction? Thy sorrow is incurable, for the multitude of thine iniquity. Because thy sins were increased, I have done these things unto thee. So because we started to do these things, the Most High crashed us, smashed us. But the heathen nations, once they got crashed and smashed, they never stood back up again. They're the definition of Humpty Dumpty. Once that egg broke, it's gone. Like everything spilled on the ground. What are you going to do about it? But Jacob is like a hard-boiled egg. They fall, the shell cracks open, and still on the inside, they're white. You know, they're good. You can still eat that. Even though it fell on the ground, it's all cracked up, looking fucked up. But if you peel the crack, it actually looks good. It's beautiful. That's Jacob. But the heathen nations are uncooked egg, spoiled. And you know how eggs smell if you keep it very long. Woo! That's not gonna be smelling good, man. That's how the heathen nations are gonna find out how they stink. They already found out now, but they're not really closing their nose to themselves. They're closing their nose for us, thinking that they better too. Bet your ass. Jeremiah 30 and 16. Therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversary, every one of them, shall go into captivity. And they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for prey. For I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thy wounds. Heal thee of thy wounds, saith Yahweh. Because they called thee an outcast, saying, This is Zion, whom no man seeketh after. And that's exactly what they're doing right now. Ain't nobody really seeking after the Jacob descendants. They seeking to flee away from me. Especially if they got status. If they got status and rank and stuff like that. In the society. I'm talking about status and rank in the society. You have these filthy Elam East Indians that come, and then they will live in the midst of Esau, sorry. And then when the Jacob descendants walk by, they running up to you talking about give me some papers, and he bold too. They wouldn't do that around here, and shit would happen. But that status over there, it's they bug that. I'm not saying that people out here are tough or something like that. They know that people they're gonna fuck you up. They're gonna fuck you up because you got like for example, right? You got West Africans, right? And the West Africans, they be taking them Arabian chicks there in France and stuff like that, right? These Arabs can't do anything because the West Africans, they fucking boy, they carnal as shit, and they love getting together and fight. Also, that's one of the only. I think that's one of the onlier ones of the Jacob descendants that do that shit. You know, if you mess with one, a stranger will come and fight you. Also, you know, they do that there in France. They're very carnal. They're quick to punch. Man, they're quick to punch. And they got whole groups and stuff. So, and the Arabians, the Arabs over there, boy, they fucking them Arab women, boy. And the Arabs can't really do anything. So these Arabs, they hate. But they know, like, hey man, you mess with them, they're gonna get together. And then it's gonna be basically a little small race war or some shit like that. And the Arabs is gonna lose that one. And they know. They might, unless they get some weapons and shit like that. But even then, the point is, there's. You think I'm just making shit up? Go YouTube it. YouTube and I'll write it down for you. So I'll put the links in the description box so you can check it out for yourself. How they be taking them women over there. And the Arabs are known for, if you take their women, you know, shit's gonna happen. Just like how you had this movie back in the days with from what's his name again? I think it's a Bronx Tale from that idiot, that skinny guy. I forgot his name. Wait. Okay, I'll try to find those videos, not articles. Those videos where you can see that they're taking them and they can't really fight back and all that type of stuff. That one. They can't fight back because, you know, the West African jakes over there, they banded together to a certain degree. And the Ishmaelites, they hate that shit when you are with their women. And you see the beautiful of their women, they getting snatched up by Jake and they want it. And they can't really fight back. But if you go to other countries and you do that shit, oh, they're gonna fight. Like that movie Bronx Tale, where you had, what's his name again, man? It was the Spike Lee? I think it's Spike Lee, it's not Stanley. It's Spike Lee. Spike Lee. Spike Lee used to make them movies and stuff like that. And he had a movie where you had this Italian guy dating a so-called black chick. I think it's the Bronx Tale. I don't know anymore. But you can look it up. But yeah, you can already hear a protest right now, a Palestine protest. You can already hear that shit coming. I heard it a long time. It's getting closer. But anyway, there you could see how if you go to the Italian neighborhood and you trying to... Am I mixing two movies together? Because this one was actually an Italian guy with a black female. But what I'm doing is, I'm actually talking about a Jake man and an Italian female. I think I mixed two movies together. Sorry about that. But both of them, you will see that the one with the black woman, the Jacob descendants wasn't really... I need to watch that movie again, but if I'm correct, the pure hatred wasn't really there. They just didn't want it because they know like they hate us too. But with the Jacob man and the Italian woman, oh shit, that boy, you can feel that devil shit within their soul. You can see it, feel it, it's there. You know what I'm saying? And that's the same thing that the Arabs have too. But in France, in certain neighborhoods, They can't do that shit, you know, because that's why I'm waiting for Ishmael. Think they're gonna get away with that shit too. We shall see. They think Esau is the only one that we got on the that I got on the target list. Fuck that shit. I don't know about other Jacob descendants, but I know about me, Elam, Ishmael, Moab, Ammon, all these motherfuckers. You know. Lord willing, they on that target list. If I'm allowed to do what I'm thinking, you're gonna be in trouble. All y'all gonna be in trouble. Not just Esau. But anyway, that's basically what they're doing. And over there in France. Maybe that's why you don't see a camp in France. Because they carnal. They like fighting. And yeah, they're rowdy. So West Africans, they're rowdy. If I show you the video, if I can find them, you will see. Yahweh. So with that, I'm gonna give all praises to the Most High Yahweh Basham Yasha Basham Rabbakudash. Double honors unto the elder apostles at Great Millstone for the teachings of the scriptures, among other things. And shalom to the sincere Akim across the world. Shalom. As you can see, another protest. It's like every weekend or something like that. Hey, shalom.